Welcome back to the TI-10 group stage, where we've got our next matchup is going to be PSG.LGD versus Team Spirit, and the game literally just started. So we should have the draft under pretty way. Kyle, I just lost my train of thought because of those beautiful blue eyes of yours. How do you think Team Spirit's going to match up? Because LGD already seems like they're on a bit of a roll.
Yeah, I think the groups have looked a bit more top-heavy than I think we all expected coming into it. Yeah. A lot of 2-0s.
There are no upsets. It's just the favorites are winning every time.
Yeah, and they're winning, I'd say, like decisively. Like not as in, they're stomping games in 15 minutes, but there's a maybe slight edge in the draft. It's exploited throughout the game, and then they close it out with like the second Roshan. Spirit, they dropped a secret, so maybe take the training wheels off, and you're now going up against PSG.LGD. Pretty much unquestionably from everyone I talk to, specifically teams, coaches, and managers, they're the best team. Everyone's riding like Ame is just the best player in the world right now, and if it's not him, it's Faith Beyond. They play like 30 heroes a person. They win tournaments with their coach standing in. Their coach, Alliance doesn't have a coach. PSG.LGD is 10K plus MMR.
Yeah, that is true. If you were just to compare the two lineups against each other, LGD would have at least a 10,000 MMR advantage.
Indeed.
Very likely more.
Indeed. And
seeing as I've seen S4's rank, and it's not too hot.
Well, hey, I'm higher ranked than a few pros, but it was nice to know that I've got a...
You still got it. That's what it means, Kyle.
Yeah.
You still got it. Still shining, baby.
Now,
what are you at now?
I peaked at like 86. I think I'm like 83, 84.
Okay.
I thought I'd hit 9K, but, it's a lot more work than I expected. A lot of Huskar jungles. They slow you down. Haven't seen any of those in TI just yet. Maybe a few of our viewers trying to get here could take that advice to heart. Either way, Team Spirit, definitely underdogs. But at the same time, this is Dota 2. PSG.LGD, maybe they could take 2 out of 0, or 2 out of 2, rather. But I don't think they'd take any more than, say, 80 or 90 out of 100. You just need this to be one of those 20%. What's a good way to start? First, pick the Tiny.
Okay.
Probably best carry
in
Dota right now.
Relatively open. How you play it feels open as well, right? Like, it can be carry. Maybe it can be some other position. But also how you play it as a carry, right?
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I just love, I love this. Like, PSG.LGD just, it's TI. What are we gonna first do? I know, Clockwork. I have tried to make this hero work. I do not believe in it at all.
You shut your damn mouth,
It
Kyle.
is
Clockwork
just
is
so
one of the
bad.
best heroes in Dota 2.
You are countered by BKB. I mean, we'll see. This is very open, which is cool. I'm sure this could potentially be a Faith Beyond hero. You also can play it as your 4 or your 5. And theoretically, maybe it's nice against Tiny, right? Because he has to attack the cogs to get out, and he has very slow attacks.
Yep.
It could work.
I also love this combination of Clockwork Death Prophet, right? Where you've got the initiation and the lockdown. And what's really good is that, like, usually certain Blink heroes are good against Clockwork. Any sort of, like, innate spell mobility. Death Prophet follows that up with the silence. She gets on top of you, is able to get a really nice long drain because they're blocked in by the cogs. I'm just big fan of this duo. But then again, I'm not sure how many times I've seen it in this patch.
Yeah, well, funny enough, if PSG.LGD picks it, we're probably going to say, yeah, that's good. That makes sense.
Wow, they're doing really well.
Yeah, and I love that so far. I mean, obviously, it's only been the one series against Quincy, which they dispatched up quite easily in 2 matches that totaled about an hour. But these are still unique. 12 unique heroes picked so far in the tournament for PSG.LGD. So maybe trying to do that VP strat back at the summit, how many games can we win consecutively with completely new drafts? Be a fun way to play the group stage.
5 seconds.
Reminds me, remember TI3, PSG.LGD, well, at the time LGD, undefeated in groups?
Yeah.
And then faltered in the upper bracket. So
Yep, they did.
I don't know if this squad will repeat it. As stated, this team, I've never heard a squad hyped up so much at a TI before.
They're the favorites to beat all favorites. Is that kind of what you're saying of this iteration of TI? Since like, what was the first TI you went to? Was that TI4?
TI5.
TI5. So since TI5, they are the biggest favorites of any of the favorites going into TI.
Yeah.
Who was the favorites at
10
TI5?
seconds remaining.
I think probably Secret.
5 seconds remaining.
EG got some love. I
Yeah,
think there was
Secret and EG, right? And then next one was like Wings and
Wings wasn't there yet. It was more
Or,
I think it
sorry.
was Vici
Uh,
or
was Virtus Pro.
VP is kind of. I guess that was one of the first tournaments. That was way back in the day. They still had Phobos. They
Yeah.
actually took out Secret running Drow twice, which is one of the reasons I look at a squad like Spirit and think that they're perfectly capable of getting a win or two here, simply because right now it feels like the meta is a lot about teamwork, the way your draft complements itself. Like OG's already 4-0, and they're doing it in a very OG style, like a lot of damage amplification, focus on hitting specific timings to take objectives, and it's a lot
10
less focused on the
seconds
individual
remaining.
in comparison to, say, TI5, where, Sumail versus
5
Shiki was
seconds
really the
remaining.
decisive difference in that series.
Yeah. So then TI7 was what? Wings, Secret again was probably a favorite.
Yeah.
TI8 was LGD were pretty good favorites there. EG was pretty high. Maybe Liquid was probably still
Yeah.
favorite then.
I think last year, 2 years ago, people really expected OG. Did you see
10
the stat?
seconds
Like,
remaining.
since 2018, they've not dropped a series at TI.
5 seconds remaining.
Like
That's a good stat.
Since
That's a
the
good
start of the upper bracket at TI8, they have not lost a series at TI.
That's a very good stat.
Yes.
I had to pause and think about that, and I was like, I guess that's true because they did go through the upper bracket. Yeah, both times.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I think people were sleeping on them coming into this event. The idea, looking at some of the percentages and the Monte Carlo simulations, the idea that if we played this tournament, a million
10
times,
seconds
and
remaining.
EG wins it 4 times as many times as OG, I think is
5
absolutely
seconds
nuts.
remaining.
Yeah, I think LGD is like. Oh yeah, we were talking about OG. For me anyway, I think like when I had like win probability of like winning TI flat out. I think OG I would always put like top 3, maybe 4th.
Yeah.
Right? Like maybe OG will only end up being like 7th, 8th or something like that. But I think you always have to like their potential of winning the whole thing. And it's all about how you deal with the pressure of TI, right? And that is something that LGD some of them are obviously very aware of. Faith Beyond and Y are both intimately aware of the pressure that happens at TI. And Ame is probably the most crucial factor when it comes to the pressure game,
Yep.
right? Because he was kind of criticized in the past for his performances at TI. A lot of people lodged a lot of blame on LGD and Ame specifically for failing to be able to bring down OG, for disgracing China, for, breaking what used to be the even odds, right?
Yep.
It was supposed to be China's year. And then it was supposed to be China's year again because
Yeah.
it was in China. And, well, PSG.LGD looking to be able to lock it third run at it, this time with a very different roster, still having Ame, but now picking up some former Wings members. Team Spirit going for the Vengeful Spirit. I didn't think this was a thing still, Kyle.
I didn't either, and they're drafting way too fast on PSG.LGD. I am very concerned for Team Spirit, who are one of my dark horses in this event. They're a great group of guys, always a lot of fun. A lot of these old veterans, they're not as happy with their media obligations. They're not necessarily down to talk to
10 seconds
a noob
remaining.
like me, but these guys, they're
Yeah.
all like first TI, like average age, I think is like 20 and a
5
half.
seconds remaining.
Yeah.
But they're in a tough spot here because I look at this lineup and I see a lot of single target, and they have to it's like burst required, but without really a finisher. And I look at PSG, I just think about the team fight. Death Prophet Wyvern is one of my favorite combos because DP still does effectively all of her damage so long as Exo is popped, even whilst under the Cold Embrace. You also have the excellent ability to counter initiate and combo break against an SD, which
10
almost
seconds
always
remaining.
wants to play with some sort of illusion hero. So you can't really
5
pick
seconds
something
remaining.
like a Luna as an example to be your game winner because you just curse.
Yeah, this feels. I feel like Team Spirit have to like just crush them in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what mid they can pick up here that's going to change my mind about that.
And it's the dream, Lincoln Z-Plate game for a morph. Like
Yeah.
SD, sure, if you get an offensive disruption at the start of a fight,
10
it's effective.
seconds remaining.
But at the same time, you get waveformed on, you're just dead.
5
like-
seconds remaining.
The end. I don't see a vessel target or a vessel carry. I guess the Mirana is, but that means your Mirana Venge offlane. It'll probably be an SD Tiny in the safe lane. Theoretically, could be a Mirana Core, and you set up with the disruption. Haven't seen that in some time, though.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like the bans from PSG.LGD. AM is the one hero that's a
10
bit spooky,
seconds
just
remaining.
because you have that save for him, and he can jump on top of the DP, the Wyvern.
5 seconds
They need
remaining.
some game-winning hero right now for Spirit, but if it's something that sits back, it's rough. And that... Okay.
Well, that continues our line of logic. They're going to have to crush LGD in the first 15 minutes. Holy cow, Spirit. They are not trying to bank on any late game, any mid game for that factor. Not a ton of team fight per se, just a lot of like single target pickoff and...
Where's the tower pressure, my man?
I don't even know how they like actually end the game before 25 minutes.
And looking at the lanes, it's going to be a core shaker with the
Yep.
assistance of a Wyvern, and then Morph Clock bottom lane. Now that could be perhaps... I mean, okay, and they also could mix it up, of course, but I could see them abusing the Morphling a bit with double
10
range.
seconds remaining.
I'm just concerned because I've always felt like DP versus Void Spirit was more DP
5
favored,
seconds
both
remaining.
in the lane and throughout the game. And Silence in general, like just how good is that against Team Spirit's lineup? One huge Silence is just GG for your lineup. I'm looking at Yatoro. He has got to have an incredible laning phase and then near flawless performance, I think, if they want to bring this home.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if they're able to do so against a very tough PSG.LGD team that has not been slouches when it comes to laning
Oh, no.
phase whatsoever.
Yeah,
So-
I can't remember if it was Insania or Owie. There was some pro telling me that it felt like there was a way that PSG.LGD played the offlane specifically that just somehow did more and was better than any other team in Dota. Like they just get more out of lanes than it feels like they should, and they draft so complete. If you look at this, they've got plenty of save, they've got counter initiation, we've got the ability to take towers and objectives, and that safety, the security of knowing we have a Morphling, we have Ame playing it, and end of the day, late game is almost certainly theirs. But Christmas Tree Tiny, I haven't seen that. Happy holidays.
Christmas tree tiny with crab tiny.
Yes.
It's an interesting combination we've got ourselves. I wanted to ask you about this. Y apparently said at the Animajor that that going into it we had that patch, right? The kind of bigger patch that changed up Dota a bit, and he said that they didn't have to really change their drafting at all because most of their heroes got buffed. Do you feel like that has continued post Animajor? Or do they have such a wide variety that it's like it doesn't really matter?
If you play everything, then everything got buffed, technically.
Yeah.
Hard to say, really. I think that the thing that really makes this lineup dangerous is, to your point, their versatility. Because if you think about a lot of teams, I'm not going to name any, but maybe one that's 0-4, a lot of their players have what I call hero volatility. So if you put them on one of their 3 best heroes, they'll look incredible.
30
But if
seconds
suddenly
to
they're picking or playing their 10th or 11th best hero, they go from, a 9 to a 5.
Okay.
Ame, Faith
Could have
Beyond-
said 4, but yeah, go on.
I was thinking about it, but that's the wrong meme, and a lot of our viewers are not going to remember Havos.
That's
That
an
was a long time
old
ago.
meme for sure. That's an old one. Yeah. You were saying.
Well, we might have a contest over the bottom, and we'll see
We
how this
definitely
plays
are
out
because
first.
they're gonna go for the Fisher block. If somebody pops their head out from Team Spirit, okay, the arrow does land, but now they throw out the Fisher, kind of blocking in Toronto Tokyo, which makes it a little bit awkward for him. He has to level up to Simulate in order to make it so his situation is okay. He is fed a tango by Mira, so the damage that was done can be undone. But it just means he doesn't get to use his better ability in lane right away, the Resonant Pulse.
Indeed, and disruption level 1 is not exactly ideal either.
Yeah.
But it's really cool how PSG.LGD played that, right? Like, it's all this community. They just did it the right way. You know, hey, we'll send our 5 forwards. He'll tank some damage, and they force a slightly favorable exchange for themselves.
Yeah. And it's not like the Morphling, even if like Clockwork got really low and had to go back to base or something like that.
Yep, exactly.
Morphling would have been fine. It's not a matchup he has to worry about just yet.
I had the pleasure of laning with Ame a couple times. It's one of the things I'm kind of itching to do, like more than cast. You know, I'll sub somebody.
Did he yell
in
at you like
goes.
a certain famous streamer?
No, we actually did really well together.
Oh.
I'm 3-0 with Ame on my,
Wow.
in my lane.
Is that about you or is that about Ame?
The
The fact that you're even taking a
team
pause
effort.
there says so much, Kyle.
I think Dota more than anything. It's about synergy.
Just be humble and say, yeah, Ame carried the hell out of me.
It is quite nice after laning with some of the other famous faces in the European region. But the only concern I have is that up top, why on Clockwork? This hero, not the greatest laner, especially against 2 range.
Yeah, double range is pretty painful.
Yeah.
You're an anti-melee hero as Clockwork.
Exactly. But he is getting the pull-off. Surprised that they're allowing this on the side of Team Spirit because Morph has no real trouble lasting under tower, and you're just giving it to him like for free.
Yeah, I feel like they maybe just kind of forgot. They also have left their hard camp blocked as well. You know, which
Yeah.
is something that Abrana usually like wants to be able to have access to. Like, this is the exact opposite of what they would want it to be. They want their hard camp unblocked, and they want the easy camp blocked, and they could just arrow hard camp creeps, and there's nothing, like, Y could try and pull it, but it would still be missing creeps and very easily dealt with.
Yeah, look at the CS, right? I mean, Ame with a 5 CS advantage, but it's the XP. Like, he's almost level 4. Clockwork, you know, this is perfect for why he wants to give his Morph this lead. It's one of the best heroes at utilizing that little bit of advantage because you suddenly hit with like a 20 or 30 damage lead on the enemy core.
Yeah. And you also can get the level 2 morph, which means that if you're ever in any danger, you morph to a point where it's very difficult for people to overwhelm that regeneration. Mid lane matchup. How's that going? 14-3 compared to 13-4. Toronto Tokyo on what is very much a signature hero for him. He has been killing it on the Void Spirit all season long.
This is, I would say, his best hero. So we'll look to see him perform. Up top, we had missed it, but they actually got the cancel on the salve.
Okay.
Now Ame a bit exposed.
Does manage to hit him with the combo there, but again, the strength morph makes things a lot easier.
Yeah, this is something that I've seen all of the Chinese carries utilizing on their Morphling. Falcon Blade Rush, sometimes into Lincolns, but oftentimes when Ame plays it, it's the immediate Mask of Death. And once you have those 2 items up, you can effectively just go jungle whenever necessary and have almost 100% uptime on map.
It's nice being able to have that that versatility of decision-making, right? Where you can just try and continue dominate the laning phase if you want to, or you can go jungle if they really try and pressure you. First Blood going the way of Faith Beyond as they manage to pick up Maposhka.
Yeah, I really like this decision by JQ. He went for the Blightstone at minute 0. And we've talked about this, especially against a Tiny that, you know, doesn't have the greatest support behind him.
Yep.
He's a 0 armor hero.
Yeah.
Like, you just hit him. And if you consider the way armor functions, like, when he's Blightstoned, he's effectively taking more than pure damage from your right clicks. And you can see that.
And those right clicks are a lot if you start leveling up Enchant Totem as well.
Yes.
Which I'll love to see if Faith Beyond gets an extra level in that in 4 and 5. Or if he goes for the more farming build of the Aftershock, which allows you to be able to get that Blink Dagger build up faster. Maposhka. Nice Splinter Blast. That was probably max range to be able to get the slow. And if he can get in front of him, block him up a little bit more, that's enough to be able to get the Aftershock hit. And a little bit more blocks, and they probably got him dead. They may not have gotten that Aftershock, but they get the long-range Enchant Totem hit from Faith Beyond to get a second kill on Maposhka.
Yeah, and now it's treads for Faith Beyond. Like, this hero, I'm If you have something that can zone the Shaker earlier on, it's maybe not ideal. But when you get ahead, like not even ahead, just even, you have treads. Like, how do you lane against this hero as a melee?
Yeah.
Like, you just tank an enchant and a smack, and suddenly it's like 200 damage to the face, and it's a 5-second cooldown for almost no mana.
Yeah. And these, I mean, these squishier heroes, Mirana, Venge, Shadow Demon, like when he gets that Aghanim Scepter, you can get 100 to 0 so easily. Square Shaker is definitely back.
Very much so. And
Arrow trying to surprise Ame, catch him while he is relatively low health, but misses.
Yeah, they're doing pretty well up top, though. Venge is out CSing Ame, but he's just getting a lot more XP. 5.5 against the Venge, who's just about to hit 5. But again, the real thing for Spirit is their ability to push the tempo. Their draft is effectively just kill, slay, kill. There's no real synergy later on in the game with illusions on an ally suddenly adding a ton to the pushing power.
Yeah.
It's just a solo carry Yatoro and a whole bunch of stuns and utility, so...
Yeah, if you look at it, it almost looks like it's supposed to be like a Luna carry, you know? Between having a Venge and a Shadow Demon, it's like... or a Terrorblade.
Exactly. I was
Yeah.
going to say, if you have something like a Terrorblade, this whole lineup just kind of takes on a different meaning, but at the same time, you're playing into Wyvern Shaker, so that didn't necessarily feel great. Here comes that first rotation. Immediately the EXO on the bottom tower. They want to pressure the tiny lane, but here's Tokyo.
What are going to do about this? They certainly need the backup. Good Rocket Flare to be able to scout Toronto Tokyo, but they may still be able to catch Q here is slowed down by the disruption. Toronto Tokyo is going to be able to make that second jump to commit to the kill. Nothing to say. No way to really punish there, not with all of Team Spirit in force like that. Ame taking advantage of the fact that he knows everybody is away to play in the bottom lane and is going to try and bully Collapse a bit.
He's doing a nice job. He has his ult skilled. Might surprise Collapse here.
Turns around. Q.
Yeah.
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 He got baited into that real hard. And now Ame's like, okay, I'm all by myself, so I'm just going to go max agility and heal up.
And that's what makes this hero so scary, right? Because he gets the kill, he goes to 0 HP, and then because he has this time left alone, he'll be full health and half mana by the time you get back as the Venge. But really nice. I love that they, like PSG.LGD, they just kind of naturally do all the right things. They make that play bottom, but Y is soaking experience mid. Still useful, that scouting Rocket Flare ensured all they lost was a support after the mass rotation from Spirit. So, you know, this isn't a team that looks for like the huge play. They just play good, EV-focused Dota. They take the tiny wins, stack them on top of each other until they get that big team fight with the decisive lead.
Again, another poke at Collapse. This is a hero. Okay, so I still hold that this Vengeful Spirit cannot have a bad laning phase. Faith Beyond proved me wrong, but I also feel like that's just LGD being LGD, and that's just not fair. I feel like for everybody else, Vengeful Spirit has to have a strong 10-15 minutes. Otherwise, that Aghanim Scepter gets way too delayed. Disruption Arrow combo is going to be able to catch Y. He's been trying to scout into this triangle a lot. He blocked the hard camp once with a sentry. He actually is going to have it reblocked here. And they actually threw a ward that is immediately going to be spouted, so. Doesn't last for long.
He did swipe the bounty, though. So it's a slight win. Nothing to say. He knows exactly what he wants to do in this game, as once again, Exorcism's available. I will run to the bottom lane and attempt to kill the enemy tower.
And I feel like this time around, it should be free, just because Team Spirit are investing so many resources into protecting their triangle.
I also just realized we forgot the combination that PSG.LGD acquired.
Oh yeah, their Shaker Morphling?
Yeah, something like, it was maybe tweaked a bit, slight nerfs, but this is one of the scariest combos in Dota.
Is this going to be enough? They certainly don't have enough nukes by itself. The magic missile also being disjointed by the waveform. Doesn't feel great. Swap back. Nothing to say. He's going to try and chase down Maposhka here. The rest of Team Spirit in a little bit of no man's land. Even worse that the Clockwork was on the other side of things. Collapse. Battery assault ticking, hoping that it wouldn't hit a neutral, but it keeps on sticking onto the neutrals. Collapse does manage to get away just ever so barely because of that.
So one of the problems when you have this SD against Morph is that I don't believe it's possible to prevent Morph from out of disruption. Like, you're going to be able, based on the way that it's coded, to shift strength, even if the arrow's overlapping with the disruption. So you can't BKB, but you can Morph. It's a very strange interaction. Thus, as you can see, even with 4 heroes, you just can't find the kill. You need some form of regen reduction. And who's buying the Spirit Vessel? It'll be the Mirana, but still a ways away on Mira.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And yeah, I mean, Faith Beyond is more than halfway to Aghanim. Skipping Blink, which I'm a huge fan of, especially in a game like this. There's a lot to cancel your Blink.
Whoa. Tried to go for the hook shot. Wasn't quite on the mark the first time. Pump faked it a few times. That smoke is still going to net them Maposhka. And what is probably more valuable at this point in time, if they can take some of these stacks, then, you know, I'm looking at this. We said Team Spirit need to be crushing the first 15 minutes, and it's looking like LGD are going to walk away with a sizable lead, as they are holding 2,000 right now. They can't do anything about the Ancients, but they took the hard game stack.
Yeah, and now you just play the 4-1. Ame takes the bottom half of the map. The rest of your lineup just moves around as a unit. And unfortunately, Team Spirit, like, the team fight isn't really there. There are a bunch of stuns. And there's the swap. This should be a kill. Yeah.
Very easy kill.
But that's one kill.
Yeah.
Single target, 4 heroes.
Maybe this is 2. Maybe. They should be able to. I don't think Nothing to Say is any way out of this one, as they're going to be able to catch him with a beautiful Ether Remnant. Yutoro, you just not have any stuns or anything? Oh, no. I mean, Zay just kind of casually got to walk away.
Bottom lane.
Jumping forward, Maposhka threatened by Ame, but ultimately Ame's just saying, "Hey, this is my area. Nobody else gets to be in my area."
And it just killing him is going to be a huge issue. And somehow Nothing to Say. You know, 2-0, but top net worth. This is very impressive. Death Prophet, not exactly the greatest flash farm, but he's done a really nice job being efficient with his time. Farming 2 camps at once. Often his decision. I mean, not a huge lead by any stretch of the imagination. Just 5-3 and 1,000 gold. But you know, Morphling, Earthshaker. You start. It's like watching. It's bad enough when you had to fight the Hulk, but then you get. Was it like Thorbot, and you put him on the same team? The Hulk Buster? Is that it?
What? That's Hulk inside of Iron Man's machine.
So that's,
is that what you're
that's
talking
the
about?
normal one. That's just a regular shaker, but now you have both. And I don't know how you play Dota as like a Shadow Demon or a Mirana. Oh, nice ulti.
Beautiful curse that is going to set up a really nasty Cogs with Nothing to Say, just being like, yes, thank you very much. Toronto Tokyo is not getting away. The Crypt Swarm at the edge with the 2 little ghosts. Double kill for Nothing to Say. And just when you thought maybe Team Spirit were going to be able to get a little something going on, it was like, okay, they've killed Faith Beyond twice. That's nice. It's not going anywhere.
No, unfortunately.
Well, they do have Spirit Vessel for
That's
Mira, so that's a very big pickup and one of the most useful tools for being able to bring down a Morphling. The question for me is, when can they jump the Morphling? They got to wait until at least this Shadow Blade for Yutoro. Then maybe they can surprise Ame, catch him while he doesn't have a ton of strength. It might even be that Yutoro 100-0s him, but...
He's been very disciplined, though. Love this from Ame, where he's keeping a pretty significant amount of strength. He's at 1,500 HP at the moment, just because Tiny was off map. So what if he did have a Shadow Blade? He could actually get solo killed. He's ensuring that isn't the case.
Nice kill there. Shinkyu getting popped by Yutaro. But again, it feels like Team Spirit, they just have to rotate multiple heroes to different sides of the map to be able to get one pick off. It's not actually changing the net worth chart that much. LGD is still holding that 2,000 net worth lead, but again, Shadowblade is crucial here, and a big window for Team Spirit to be able to turn around that win probability that was not super nice to Team Spirit.
Yeah. Ame is 1,000 gold from his E-Blade, and he's just, we haven't seen him, right? He left the laning phase and said, all right, guys, I'll be back. Just give me 5 or 6 minutes. But
Venge still needs another 1,400 gold for the Aghanim Scepter. Which is, that's one of the things, right? Venge, pretty squishy hero, but at least she has some armor. Very susceptible to magic damage. So kind of need to get that Aghanim Scepter before that E-Blade's online. Otherwise, you're just not going to have a Venge most team fights.
that invis was a bit early. They still saw the Venge on a creep. So if PSG.LGD were paying attention, they should know this is happening.
Yeah,
Like rocket it to the face. They might have an idea.
Yeah, it seems like they definitely know, especially thanks to that ward that is just outside of the Roshan pit paired with a Sentry.
Look at the ward, like beautiful wards for PSG.LGD. Like think about the last two they placed and their understanding of what's going to happen in this game. One above their tier 2 tower, because that's where Spirit was looking to play, and another just in front of the Roche pit. So the two areas Spirit want to play in are now visible, and a smoke coming out. The Love Mid Tower, level 2 Exorcism prepared, and a Haste Rune, and a DD already popped. This is very spooky.
Smoke breaks, smoke breaks, smoke breaks 3 times there, and it's going to be LGD who find the opening onto Collapse. And that'll be a free pickoff. I'm not wrong, right? Team Spirit, they double smoked on accident, right?
Yes.
I don't think I've ever seen a double smoke instantly break like that.
Yeah, and this is just such a huge time. Faith Beyond, even better than a Blink Dagger. This Aghanim Scepter is just terrifying. Like, absolutely terrifying. 5-second cooldown for a near 1,000 jump, 1.5 second stun.
Yeah.
Doesn't even really need to dunk. And Ame didn't even like think about attending that engagement. He was just farming. Now as an E-Blade.
This is one of those games where your carry could literally...
They see this.
Trying to jump him. Unfortunately, the Aghanim Scepter a little bit slow. Yutaro changes course. Not caught by that, but will be hit by the second one. Slowed down enough that he is definitely dead.
Gorgeous.
Really nicely baited. As you said, LGD read where Team Spirit wants to be able to play on the map. That ward sentry combination spots them out.
Their ward was placed 3.5 minutes ago. That's how far ahead they are, Team Spirit, right now.
Yeah. 3.5 minutes ahead. Nothing to say. Oh, nice tank there from Y, making sure the arrow doesn't actually land onto the Death Prophet. Still healthy enough to keep going. Faith Beyond jumping into the Mirana to be able to finish him off. And, oh, the Cold Embrace is not enough. The magic damage actually managed to finish him off. Mira got away at the same time. Nothing to say. Did chase down Maposhka here and is still looking for Collapse. Sentries on out. They're going to be able to spot him. Arrow actually does manage to catch him here. They're going to recommit. The Winner's Curse laid out onto Toronto Tokyo because they see that double damage. They silenced the overlay, that disable, to make sure that Toronto Tokyo, which would have been a critical double damage that could have won that fight for them, wasn't able to make the jump over, wasn't able to actually get on top of the Death Prophet.
That's just beautiful. And I love having that overlap, that, you know, silence, you don't lose any damage, right? It's just an instant 100 overlay. There's no way to continue that engagement as the Void Spirit. And just, man, you know, Team Spirit, this is a solid Dota team. I've been hearing a lot of praise behind the scenes for the squad, but PSG.LGD, it's like, they're just so good. Like, I find myself gushing about them, watching their matches over others, simply because if you really study the little things that they do right, it's why they're such a machine.
Yeah.
Like that ward, I don't know where you play as Team Spirit. They want this mid tower. They need to open up the map, but how are you going to get it? That's the question. Because it's the same idea where PSG.LGD, they're just holding hands, 4 heroes on top of the high ground. And they're going to find him again. The ward again.
100 to 0. Nicely played by LGD. The stuns from the Earthshaker layer just nicely enough to be able to get the shotgun. This ward,
No, yeah, this is, you just don't expect this as Team Spirit.
Yeah, like most of the time, this part of the map, like you give up your tier 1 tower, and then sometimes you just don't really play into your tier 2 safe lane at all. And LGD is just giving Team Spirit no quarter whatsoever. They're going to keep on hunting here, finding Yutoro, jumping onto him, tossing the Clockwork away as best he can, but he's not going to be able to deal with this Morphling when he shows up. The Morphling, Ame just blows up Mira, deals with Yutoro in time. The only real escapee here is maybe Poshka. Oh, Yutoro thought he could get away with that BKB. Nice toss-up. And it's actually pretty funny that he can grab the Earthshaker mid-air from Enchant Totem. Nothing to say. He's trying this by himself. Swap for a second to be able to get that damage reduction that allows Collapse to be able to live. But the fact that Nothing to Say can do that in the first place, with nobody around.
He got a solo kill.
He just ran down mid-tier 2 looking for kills.
Goodness gracious. I mean, it's just, these guys are just grandmasters, man. Talk about, it's like watching Bobby Fischer, but instead of having to deal with DeepMind, it's Fisher-Price, and that's not meant as an insult to Team Spirit. They're just right now outclassed by what is quite possibly the best team in the world.
Yeah, this is a Team Spirit. I mean, they didn't just simply qualify for TI, right? They actually had that very nice run at Dota Pit where, oh, that was a nice combo! Swapped into the Ether Remnant. A beautiful combination from Team Spirit. The problem is, that's an Aegis on Ame. So it was a really cool play. They swapped him into a pre-laid out Ether Remnant from the Void Spirit so they can get an instant stun. But again, it's still an Aegis. It was such a cool play, but it did nothing for them besides taking away an Aegis, so I guess that's not a threat. But yeah, this is, again, Team Spirit had this nice lower bracket run through the Dota Pit tournament, made it all the way to the grand finals, even taking a game off of LGD there. But that was also an LGD with Zhao Wei.
Yeah.
And now this is the full LGD squad that, by the way, won that tournament. Has been looking incredibly good. And just seems to be getting better and better.
I love this decision. Nothing to Say. He went for a Lotus. So another method of dealing with the Spirit Vessel, but also just, you know, it helps his allies, right? He can now provide another cleanse for Ame, who rushed this Satanic for the same reason. That defensive cleanse is incredibly impactful. You know, you can... what Soul Catcher's gone.
Yeah.
The inevitable
Spirit
Silence
Vessel,
from Toronto, Tokyo.
Silence,
Spirit
yeah.
Vessel, exactly. Like, there's just so much you can remove.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And yeah, now it's time. You can't get Aegis as an objective. You've already squandered that. But tier 2 bottom is open, and then you go for the outpost. And once again, I just love how the wards seem to follow them around the map. They now have a double sentry placed on top of the ward just above that objective. So they would see Yutoro if he were to make a move towards them from an unexpected pincer. And of course, a sentry under them at the tower as well. Also love the fact, if you remember when Yutoro got that BKB off, of course Y has a dust. Of course he has a dust.
Yeah. And man seems very prepared. After all, can we see that ward graphic again? This man had like 20 sentries laid out in the first 15 minutes of the game or something. Like, it's an LGD team that's winning, and Y's like, I've got net worth to play with. It's just going to be tons of sentries. He is going to die here, though. Yutoro is going to be able to catch him. Maybe the Earthshaker as well. Faith Beyond couldn't actually make it over the top of that one. It does manage to get off the Echo Slam. The Venge Spirit is out. They're going to try and chase that down to make sure the Vengeful Spirit is no longer in this fight whatsoever, unless he chooses to buy back.
That's a Arcane Rune and level 18 Death Prophet. What a timing. Who needs Aegis? You have an insane, not even net worth advantage, but gold lead. Peace.
Not a whole lot to say about this one, Kyle.
No,
This is just LGD.
Oh, I think I've misspoke. It's not the gold, it's the XP. If you check out the hero levels, like both of your big cores on PSG.LGD are 18 plus.
Yeah.
Your off lane is both 14. Like, they're keeping up with the enemy mid laner. It's not the gold that's really giving them this huge edge. Death Prophet is very much XP based damage.
Yeah.
Every upgrade in your ultimate is significantly more damage. Level 2 to level 3 increases your output by 50%.
And soon he's going to have the 20 talent as well, which makes him even harder to bring down when he's got Yule's Lotus Orb like this with the Sange, which is a really cool idea with the Spirit Siphon.
Yep. Halberd's very nice against Tiny. We talked about how the hero hates having to buy MKB, and of course the active disarm is incredibly effective.
Slowed down by the Echo Saber hit, gets the toss off, but not a real threat, just a poke.
Yeah, and it's the drain is actually nuts. You can see why they first 2'd the hero.
Yeah.
You get so much of the, what is it, 5, did he talent it as well? No, but he went for the magic resist, like that a lot.
Yeah.
5.5% of the max HP.
Yeah,
drained
3,000 health Tiny.
Yeah.
It's going to give you a lot.
That is significant. And of course the added sustain because of the halberd. Let's see, no Aegis available for some time. I also love Faith Beyond's build, just straight up bringing out a BKB. No blink, just get the Aghanims, have a BKB. That is more than enough delivery. Ame closing in on a Scotty, but they're just going to keep rolling, and again, ward set up in advance.
Damn, look at that hero damage coming out from Xin-Q. Doing a good job on that Winter Wyvern. Had several quite nice Winter Curses.
Wards in front of the Roche Pit, they'll see the Arcane.
Faith Beyond just charging headlong in. The Rocket is going to be able to give him some vision as well. And Collapse, they're going to make sure he's going to die. Probably not once, but probably twice.
Oh no. The trees. The swap breaks the trees. And poor Collapse, he's just like, oh, that.
There's nowhere to hide now.
And now the line drawn. Ame's like, all right, guys, great job. Let me finish my Scotty real fast. And we will continue to collect objectives. I just can't stop geeking out about the wards. Like, with the exception of the one that was placed on the high ground.
And that was
near Radiant
Xin-Q.
Ancients.
You
Exactly.
can blame him. That wasn't
Exactly.
a Y ward.
Y is a TI winner. He does not get dewarded, and it's just it's very common.
38 wards he's placed. Jesus.
Look at that. It's very common for inexperienced supports to just kind of place wards for like good vision, right?
Yeah.
But it's rare that you see like the strategy so obvious in the way vision is utilized. It's not just like first it's defensive, you know, you're setting up in preparation for your enemy's plays, and now it's all about just making your own moves. But much like when they pushed bottom and had the safety of the ward above them, now they have wards to the right as they push top.
Rocket spots Miposhka, forced to have to get away from the arrow, but still staying on top of Miposhka to make sure he dies, as his team is currently assaulting the top lane.
Another Arcane Rune.
I mean, Team Spirit, it feels bad, but twice now. Okay, they do manage to get the swap into Aether Remnant combination to be able to bring down the Morphling, but the curse!
No.
Xin-Q just beautiful on top of the Tiny, leading into the Echo Slam. The combo is real from LGD, and it's certainly going to be a combo that knocks out Team Spirit. They have no say in this game. LGD is just going to march through all of these heroes, take down the buildings, probably close it out here. I mean, they don't even have another swap just yet. It's a cute play, but it feels like it's like the only play we've seen from Team Spirit.
Yeah, they got the Aegis the one time. That was nice, but unfortunately, it's just not enough. I just love the way PSG play. Like they're you know, their two big cores are hitting tower as Faith Beyond and Y kill a support.
Yeah.
And Xin-Q kind of like rotates over like you don't watch football, but you know, he's like like the strong safety, like drifting to the weak side. Do they need me? No, okay, I'll go back and cover deep.
Hook shot in deep here as the Cold Embrace is going to be able to keep Nothing to Say alive. Not even just alive, but fully healed up. Collapse, certainly dead, comes back in spirit form while Nothing to Say looks to be able to run down Yatoro. They're going to try and slow him down until their damage dealer can finally finish him out. Looks like they're dealing with that nasty spirit for now. As Y, okay, he's going to commit his life to be able to stall up Yatoro. They do manage to get a nice arrow. That finishes off Xin-Q at least. But Ame, okay, never mind. They don't have any detection, so Yatoro is going to be able to get away cleanly here. Maybe Team Spirit can actually hold this out here. It is a 4 versus 3. I'm not sure if they can deal with Ame. Problem is they can kite back all they want. The buildings are exposed. This is going to be mega soon. They miss out on the disruption arrow combination.
And the discipline. You know,
That's it.
I'm telling you, man, this squad, there is no. Yeah, GG. It's over, but I love that PSG. You know, maybe there was a 0.5 to 0.1% shot that Spirit can come back.
Yep.
They're down 2, as you said. So yeah, we got Megas. We'll back off. Like, they are all business. They are not here to mess around. They know what it's like to taste clothes. Like Ame, he's been here. He wants to join his teammates and obtain a TI victory. I know it's early in group stage, but I'm starting to understand why every single person I talk to, because I'm always trying to get some deets, the inside scoop from these teams. The only thing, and this was echoed by everybody that I spoke to, Team Secret, Virtus Pro, Fnatic, EG, all the same. LGD is very good.
We're seeing it here. Again, I feel like that should be the takeaway that everybody should watch. You just watch Team Spirit get slaughtered. It's about how good LGD is. Team Spirit is not a bad team, but LGD is just incredibly good. And I don't know what Team Spirit's going to bring into Game 2, and I hope it's something a lot different because it looks like this may be just a very, very fast series otherwise. LGD just continuing a total onslaught here at the TI-10 group stage. We're going to take a short break. Be right back.
Romanialaiset olisivat halunneet, että Vivolaarua voitaisiin kuulla Ruotsissa. Ruotsin viranomaiset eivät ole järjestäneet kuulemista. Ruotsin
Welcome back to Game 2 of LGD versus Team Spirit. Game 1 went kind of fast. It was didn't even reach the 30-minute mark before the throne straight up exploded, and it felt like you could kind of see the writing on the wall by like 15 minutes.
I mean, yeah, LG was like 3 minutes ahead. It felt like the whole time.
Yeah.
They just kind of hamstrung Team Spirit. They gave away the Aegis, and it didn't really make much of a difference. So I think drafting-wise, just Spirit, perhaps their inexperience exploited a bit. This really felt like one of those drafts where you had a plan for the first half, and you were going to improvise, but it was too late. You had a fiddle, you had an oboe, and you're just like, what am I supposed to do with this? There's no way to fix it. You bring the strings in, but it's just too late. So either way, we'll see what happens.
Do you think
now.
like some of that is like the fact that we were talking about like this sort of draft almost looks like it works with like a Luna or TB or something like that, but Team Spirit, they first picked a Tiny, right? And that's obviously something that is like relatively new meta-wise. This is not something that like Team Spirit, how they got to TI was not through this sort of meta, right? So do you feel like part of that is them trying to adjust to the meta, but still like holding on to like other ideas that had success for them?
I would say so. I mean, when I think Yatoro, I always think about his Terrorblade, his Medusa. That's what we saw them play quite a bit throughout the seasons. At the same time, how can you give Ame Tiny, right? It's more of this idea that the hero could just be too good.
Yeah.
But if you pick it and you don't have this concept around it, I think you suffer, especially because I just don't think it's Toronto Tokyo Hero. When I see OG pick it, I'm like, okay, who the hell knows who's playing this? When it's Team Spirit, feels like PSG.LGD knew exactly what they intended to do. They go clock Death Prophet. And the Death Prophet certainly seems like one of those heroes that's well suited against the Tiny. Most importantly, I think you end the game faster. Tiny with like 4 or 5 items, real spooky, but they're going high ground right at level 18. What are you supposed to do? And hey, what do you know, PSG.LGD, you leave us Tiny, we're going to take it.
Yes, they
show you how it's done.
It's Team Spirit banned Clockwork. Do you feel like? Because like I'm looking at this right now and be like, I'd much rather LGD have a Clockwork than a Tiny.
To be fair, it did like the rockets were sick.
Yeah,
like just not necessarily for damage, just for vision. It felt like every time we'd see this engagement or these TPs start coming in, boom, rocket flare. All of a sudden, it just huge informational advantage. So what was the? Isn't there some shooter game where you get like a kill streak and then you put up a drone and suddenly you see where everybody is?
That sounds like some console gaming. That's,
makes sense.
Low skill.
Yeah.
PSG.
All right, so we're going to see Mars IO as an opening for Team Spirit. So this definitely in their wheelhouse. Last time they drafted the Mira Mirana, right, which was so potent for them throughout the season. This time around, they're going to go for the Collapse Mars, #1 Mars player. Guy loves it. I want to actually ask you away from the draft here for a second. The favorites are winning. And that is kind of surprising because TI always offers a lot of surprises. And there's always like a lot of underdogs come in and they actually prove to be credible threats. A lot of people were postulating that this TI was going to be the TI with the most upsets because of the fact that we have pat changes that came in relatively late into the season, right? Because TI got delayed and stuff, we ended up getting a relatively, not a huge patch, but like decently big, right? Changed up the game, changed up the meta a bit. Like, we're still figuring things out. So isn't that an opportunity for the underdog teams to be able to provide more upsets? Why are all the favorites winning, I guess? That's what I'm asking.
They're just much better this year.
Yeah.
I think that the good teams are much better than they were in the past. So I think it's, the skill ceiling in general has been, the floor rather, it has gone up. But I just look at this, PSG.LGD, OG, EG. These teams are good. Like LGD and EG specifically, they've been good all year. They've been playing all year. This is a team of professionals who have been grinding. And, I'll use like Fnatic as an example. They don't look half bad. That's a good Dota team. But they still reformed the roster in, June. They just don't have as much work together necessarily. And I think more than most other patches, this one seems to be very focused on your drafting, on the way you team fight and itemize, and it's harder to exploit. Like I win. Like, if you remember at the Anti Major, Team Nigma with their Invoker Luna combo, as an example, you even saw this in matchmaking, where these subpar carry players could utilize Luna to just gain MMR. And I'm not saying that that's like a subpar team, but Invoker Luna, oh, we won one fight, okay, game over. Can you really do that with a lot of what's popular in the meta now? It's more about area control, starving the map, cutting waves, taking objectives at the proper time, hitting power spikes. And at the end of the day, better teams make fewer mistakes.
Okay.
That's my theory.
No, I don't know. I think that theory makes a lot of sense to me. Just looking back at the way I see Dota being played right now, and just combining the fact that like there have always been really big upsets at TI, and a lot of them have just been about I don't know, like it's just like I don't know, execution based. Like everybody was just clicking buttons really well, But like the strategic advantages that are coming from a lot of what we've seen, both times we watched like Fnatic, right? That game 1 that they lost felt like they kind of got outdrafted. Team Spirit here, I just couldn't see how that draft was a winning draft for me.
And that's the other big change. It's the lack of significant hero volatility from squads like PSG.LGD. I would say Ame on Tiny. Maybe that's his best hero.
Okay.
What's his 15th best hero? Can you tell? Can you really see him play a game and where you're like, wow, he seems uncomfortable on that?
Yeah.
That's not the case. And that's the big challenge for squads like Team Spirit. We have seen Toronto Tokyo play Void Spirit for the last 6 months. Every team in Dota knows he's going to come in playing Void Spirit.
Yep.
You might need to adapt. But can you play another hero that's completely different in terms of the way your role takes shape within the game? If you're a Viper, you are not a Void Spirit. You have to do different things. You have to play a different style. It's like you're going from offense to defense. Like this is just not something that's easy to do. And a lot of the top teams, more than anything else, what they have is experience.
And as a good example of this game 2, we've got Collapse, who's played in 93 games of Mars in his professional history. His second most played is Axe at 57. Right? Like this guy, they're going to pick Mars if you give it to them, and he's incredible at it. But everyone, I think another thing is that like people have learned, like OG, 18th the first, right? Like they made that incredible run. Amazing stuff. Like we've had so many upsets going at TI that I feel like the veteran teams are getting hammered over and over again. The same lesson: underestimate nobody.
Exactly.
Like
we saw
learn your opponent through and through every time.
The last game they took Megas. They didn't get cocky.
Yep.
They didn't just go for the win or dive fountain. The game was over.
Yeah.
They backed. They were gonna get 5 and go for the win. Like, I love it. I love this hero. I saw Notel play it. I saw Seb play it. And it's one of those that I think is activated by the shard because suddenly this 5-position LC, it's such a massive well, first off, the 2 seconds on the cooldown is significant. But if you think about what press the attack does for you, 140 bonus attack speed. Think about the Thunder Lizard and how sick that is with the HOD.
75 frenzy attack speed.
Yeah, it's nearly twice as much, plus a heal, plus the 1.75 second BKB, which acts. We saw them use it against a Viper. Oh, you got 5 charges of your poison tag. That's cute. Okay, it's gone now.
Yeah.
10 seconds
Start over.
remaining.
Big fan, and boom, Skywrath Mage.
5
Suddenly,
seconds remaining.
you have forced Staff and Glimmer Cape to be items the enemy team requires, because otherwise a duel and a flare is done for. That's it.
Yeah. And if you look at like Mars plus Snapfire, that's like a very burst heavy that any sort of like interruption of that causes a lot of problems. They've got Winter Wyvern with the Curse. Now they've also got that Legion Commander with the Cleanse you were talking about. So.
And you've just picked Sven into Wyvern.
10
Yeah.
seconds remaining.
I know Sven is one of the stronger carries of this patch.
5
Don't get me
seconds
wrong,
remaining.
Sven Io, super strong. But you did pick it into Wyvern.
It's just another example of PSG.LGD being a couple steps ahead. I feel like maybe we're being too
Spirits
harsh
turn
on
to
Team
ban.
Spirit, but realistically, they come into this at best power rankings. What would you put them? 8th, 9th. PSG.LGD almost undisputed number 1, and that's a stark difference in this very top-heavy TI. Who's
10
looked great? I mean,
seconds remaining.
undefeated teams. There's, I believe, still quite a few left.
5
EG,
seconds remaining.
IG, OG, VP,
LGD's
Elephant,
turn
LGD
to ban.
Secret, and that is just rather impressive.
Can I put out a theory here to add on top of our previous discussion about like why are there not more upsets happening? A relatively recent patch means the patch isn't hammered
10
out
seconds
entirely yet,
remaining.
and better teams naturally
5
they
seconds
break down the
remaining.
patch faster, right?
Yeah.
And then everybody else learns from them, right? And a lot of these teams, LGD, they've been giving lots of information because they played in ESL and they played Dota Pit, but
Spirits
they've
turn
also
to
have the
battle.
hero versatility that it feels like they're doing everything.
Yep. Undying, actually, they did take a game off of IG. It's
I did see that, yeah.
another dark horse of mine. I think that they have a lot of potential, have a lot of respect for Moon Meander and the guys coming here. No sponsor, no
seconds
support.
remaining.
Shout out to the community for helping fund their boot camp. They
5
spent, I
seconds
believe, a month and a
remaining.
half in Romania grinding to try and prepare themselves for these moments.
And it says a lot that they did that as well after what have been several losses for them, right?
Yeah.
They were down 3 games in a row, and then were still able to pick themselves back up, get a win against IG. Maybe that's something Team Spirit can do here against LGD. Looks like we still need a mid for Team Spirit. What is the Toronto Tokyo hero that's left? Is Ember Spirit still there? That's one of the last spirits left.
Wouldn't be the
You could give him Void Spirit
greatest.
again, but I'm not sure if you really want that. Legion Commander Sky.
It's I wouldn't mind a hero like Razor.
LGD's
They ban out
turn to
Tinker.
pick.
Something that kind of takes tempo here. They don't have too much tower damage, but it's really nice because you look at this lineup, you think I want a BKB buyer on my mid lane, but you're still playing into Duel and Curse.
10 seconds remaining.
We shall see. It's also what's really cool. A lot of these
5
events this year have
seconds
been
remaining.
online. This is one of the few lands, and it's really cool seeing the way different teams, I guess, prepare
Team
themselves.
spirits
Like
turn
last
to
night,
Admiral
You know,
Tonka.
OG was kind of just all chilling. Sumail was just like hanging out, drinking
Yeah.
some tea with us. I haven't even seen PSG.LGD like this entire time. I don't know
Yeah.
if they have left their PCs. You see some other squads that just seem really
10
relaxed.
seconds remaining.
Well, word on the street was LGD was like locked inside their room, no AC,
Yeah.
like no
5
chances
seconds
of anything going wrong, And they may just be continuing that harsh regiment.
I wouldn't be surprised. I did hear rumors that there were some squads that seemed nervous.
Good call.
Bada
Razor
bing, bada
pickup
boom.
makes it even better when they see Kunkka, right?
Yep. And it's what's necessary because you have this high HP BKB buyer, but you're playing against 3 melee cores. If that's not a game for Razor, I don't know what it is. You couldn't be something that utilized Ancients, and you have to be a tempo hero. It was not a game for an escape artist. You
Yeah.
needed a brawler.
I was looking through and I was like, okay, Puck, Ember Spirit, Void Spirit,
No.
like those are all going to get caught by Sky and Legion Commander. They needed something durable. I don't really think of Toronto Tokyo as being a Razor player, and it's true. He only has
Yeah.
5 games in his professional career, but he's also undefeated.
Yep. Yeah, that's it's a good sign. And
Yeah.
this,
10
because you know what it
seconds
is. Also discussing back to the underdog and the upset stories.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about
5
just being good to
seconds
heroes anymore. It's like,
remaining.
what do you buy? Like you look at the
Mm.
itemization on our Death Prophet in the last game. Like how many times have you seen like Yules into bots into Sange, Lotus, Halberd?
Yeah.
Like you just don't necessarily see that, but in retro, it's like it all makes sense. Razor is another kind of hero where it's: are you buying early bots? Are you going drums, Dragonlance? Are
How
you
soon do
rushing
you get your
BKB?
BKB? Yeah, yeah. This is all important things. And that just means you have to have like a higher Dota IQ,
Yeah.
And to be honest, like Dota IQ is not like normal IQ. It's like Dota IQ, you have to have a lot of experience.
Yes, exactly.
Right? And that is something that Team Spirit is clearly outmatched against LGD. The LGD, all long time standing, Dota players that have been around for a while. Even Jin Q was like playing in Tongfu Wanzhou in like 2015. Mira played his first game of Snapfire. Professional match of Snapfire. He'd never played in pubs before, and just played it a few times in scrims.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He told us in that interview, it's easy.
Yeah.
Simple hero.
I remember a conversation, I want to say it was an Epicenter, like 3 or 4 years ago with, I was listening to Puppy and Kuro, and they were just talking, the way like grizzled vets talk about their battles, just like almost, they're both happy to reminisce but frustrated at the difficulty of the game that they've chosen, because they'll discuss how you lose a game to learn a lesson, and that lesson isn't relevant save 1 out of 1,000 games.
Yeah.
But you do that a few thousand times, and just...
I always find that interesting. Dota players always have an incredible memory for the Dota games they play. And I think that is actually a very important skill or characteristic of Dota players, because as you said, if you learn that lesson once, but it's only applicable in every 1 in 1,000 games, that is kind of a problem. And maybe that's why I'm so terrible, because I have a terrible memory for Dota games.
Yes.
I can't remember what I played last night, It's rough.
And this is, once again, Team Spirit. They're just camping as 5 on the enemy room, but this time they're right under a ward, so not ideal. I've seen a lot of Bassi rushing from these 4 positions or offlaners. I think it's quite nice. And it is Faith Beyond, the offlane LC. What is he? Oh, he's going to go for an HOD?
Or do you think he's actually going to go for that?
What else would it be?
You could just go Armlet, right? You could go a full-out Crimson Guard if that's the kind of game.
Armlet? Like first item? I think, okay, I could see it, but maybe he just wants the Helm of Iron, because theoretically it is incredibly good against the Sven, right?
Yeah. For those of you guys who are like really old Dota veterans, like Dota 1 players, you'll remember the Ring of Health Rush. This Helm of Iron Will is basically that. It's the most efficient item to be able to rush right away. So you just get Quelling Blade, whatever minimum amount of regen you can, and then just try and pick up that Helm of Iron Will, and it ends up being net worth-wise very efficient because it gives you armor and it gives you regen, so you could just sustain in lane constantly.
Comparatively, Ring of Health, 825 gold, 6.5 health regen. Helm of Iron Will, 950 gold, so 125 more. You get 6 armor and 5 health regen.
Yeah.
It is, like, just nuts. And armor does give a flat EHP increase of 5% per point, obviously only against physical damage. And that is quite significant against heroes like Sven and Mars and Razor. Oh, wait. The whole core lineup of Team Spirit, physical damage. So look to see the entire squad look to mitigate that as much as possible.
Well, besides this offlane combo, right? Snapfire, Mars, that's going to be where all of your magic damage comes from. But yeah, the Razor, the Io, the Sven, you're talking about mostly physical damage there. Speaking of that combination, how are they doing in the bottom lane? 5-1, looks like Ame not missing a whole lot of CS until I actually say something about it, and then he misses a CS that was free. You know what happens. Tiny's animation is long. Sometimes you stop yourself midway through the swing. These things happen. Toronto Tokyo needs to win this mid lane pretty hard, as we may be watching Y die right now. In fact, we are going to watch him die. That's going to be first blood for Collapse. A good start here for Team Spirit, protecting their pull and getting a first blood for it. That is kind of what you need to see.
Yeah, they did get a couple creeps tonight in the meantime, and Ame very happy once again getting solo XP. Will steal the big creep as well. But always nice to start with the first blood. And man, all the little details that come out of TI, I see bottom lane, Y has a buckler, first item, top lane, his Skywrath playing with Bassi first, just to get the rush veil going. All the little details, man, I'm telling you, I love it. 10 stick. Yeah, headdress rush on Miposhka. So you have all 3 of those really early ally assist items picked up in this game.
I have to say, I think Nothing to Say is doing pretty well in the mid lane. Toronto Tokyo's haven't had a little bit of a problem. He keeps on getting hit by Torrents and Tidebringer shots. And he's not able to, like, fully be offensive like he likes to.
It isn't the greatest matchup, though, for a Razor. Like, of all melee to play against, Kunkka's probably one of the hardest, just because you get all the bonus damage that you can continue to CS, even when you're getting linked. And,
oh, the last bit of damage coming in from Shinkyu. That I was wondering. I was like, Nothing to Say. Does he actually have the damage? And then, okay, the Skywrath Rage was actually joining him. Collapse. They in trouble. Ame able to get that kill, so they're going to trade in bottom lane, but that one is to the favor of LGD as well.
Yep, 100%. Oh, this is a cool build. Faith Beyond has 2 points really early in Moment of Courage. I've not seen anybody else do that.
Kyle, you're always the man who's like, I don't want to see any other build. Max out, press the attack right away.
I've changed my tune a little bit with
Okay.
the addition of Soul Ring Spammer, but I saw Seb go like a 3-3 build earlier. Because you just always have mana, but he's rushing Armlet, dude. You were right. Okay, so this is a different kind of style. Here's the thing. If you have Armlet and you're maxing out that third spell, oh, hang on.
I actually do manage to get the nice stun on Shinkyu, a little bit of damage there, but not able to keep it.
So you know how CK every game buys Armlet, right?
Yeah.
It's because you have sustain thanks to your crit. So even though you're losing HP, the bonus damage ensures you're like always 100 HP. You're gaining health even with Armlet up. LC
Sure.
with Moment of Courage can do the same thing.
Right. Okay. So that's the reason.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense because it's not just more lifesteal, but it lowers the CD on the proc chance. So realistically, he can just start farming Ancients and healing himself with Armlet active, thanks to how strong that'll be when maxed out. And he'll have Armlet finished in like 300, 400 gold. Talk about records. That is going to have to be one of the fastest Armlets we've ever seen on a non-Huskar hero.
Faith Beyond kind of getting chased out of lane. Well, bottom, they're also trading back and forth. You can see Collapse is getting a little bit low. And he does have a Soul Ring on Ame, but Avalanche still on cooldown for a bit.
Nothing to say now, level 6.
Running around the torrent. Nicely played. Toronto Tokyo realizing that, yeah, he kind of just read that. He's like, okay, I've got you now, Kunkka, but at the same time, it means there's probably rotation coming in from the support.
And it's just like, that is, I don't want to say fear, but respect, right? Nothing to
Yeah.
say. He just throws out the torrent, saves X, saves boat. And even though he's got a huge link going, Toronto Tokyo, he's afraid of going up the high ground. Just because he assumes, and was correct, someone will respond. I might just die here if I try and make this play.
And a large part of that is that Faith Beyond is relatively untouched at this top lane. So Shinkyu is able to rotate and make these very early rapid rotations into the mid lane because Faith Beyond is not in danger of any sort. And it's kind of pointless for a Skywrath Mage to stay in an IO lane. Because normally your whole entire play is to harass a hero out of lane entirely, maybe get a kill, and that just doesn't happen with the constant sustain of IO. So better just leave Faith Beyond to focus on farming.
This is so, man, I want to, oh, they nice kill on Ame, but
Yeah.
I'm just like stuck. I see us both just watching top as this Armlet LC just hits Sven in the face. Mid lane, they're going to make another go. Both missed. Did he X
That was a fail boat indeed. Yeah, I think he just X'd a little bit too early. Why? Cookie? Oh, nice little juke, but I don't think it changes anything besides getting off a little bit more damage on Amira.
But
okay, they spot. Oh, they wanted that courier and they'll have it, but is he gonna pay for it with his life? Ame, a little bit far away, doesn't actually have the vision, but he only got a couple of rocks there combined with a raindrop. Collapse both knows about that vision and will be able to survive to tell his friends about the vision.
This is so cool. Like the way that they're playing this. Max Tree on Ame, but this top lane, Armlet Rush, Quelling Blade, Armlet Rush, Max Moment of Courage, and because he's just hit 6, he has forced Sven out of lane.
Yeah.
Like, he's so 1500 health, 150 damage with Armlet active. That is just absolutely nuts.
The weird thing is like Armlet Legion Commander is It's a little awkward just because it's you don't have your initiator now, right? You're actually like filling out the whole entire lineup with semi-carries. They're going to be able to get the first duel of the game onto Miposhka. But I guess you don't need it because Kunkka is just a constant initiator for you, right?
Exactly.
Every single time he X's,
it goes back to damage as well. The earlier you get your damage item, the better, because it makes you do everything else faster. You're going to farm camps, push lanes, get that next item. The problem with Blink Rush as an LC is that you don't actually have any sort of scaling power. So if you don't find a kill immediately, or let's say your first Blink ult fails, your game's over.
Yeah.
With Armlet, time spent doing quote-unquote nothing is actually time spent farming probably faster than every hero in this game with the exception of those with cleave, like Tiny and Sven. That's... Oh, and Kunkka, I guess. But either way, 2 of those heroes are on your team, so you're probably pretty okay with that. It means he'll scale. He will not just be a Blink duel, which he kind of has to be when you think about Team Spirit. Drain is going to remove 1 core's damage. The other 2 have to be able to carry the load, if so.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Whenever there's a Razor game, you feel like you can't go for Protect 1.
Exactly.
Sort of like, I like the term anti-carry for heroes like Razor and especially old Broodmother with a miss percentage chance and a lifesteal. It's like these heroes just excel at being able to neutralize the enemy carry very well. 3-4. Net worth lead slight for LGD, just now going over 1,000. You see the win probability not shaking up too far one way or the other.
The Kunkka has the Armlet queued up as well.
Okay.
But this is actually so sick. Okay, so Drain from Razor, assuming untalented. Okay, what is it? 8 seconds of 22 damage drain per second. Armlet gives you the active, what is it, 35 damage, 25 strength. So 60 damage per strength hero that picks it up. So the first 3 seconds of drain are just canceled.
Okay, that's a good way to think about it. Combined with the fact that they are also very tanky, they have high amounts of armor, which again is just going to create issues for Razor and Sven and being able to kill heroes. It doesn't necessarily, it does mean that like LGD, they're farming really efficiently around the map, and it's why they have a bit of a net worth lead, but they also can't get like super aggressive and go and like stop this Sven from farming up ancient stacks.
Yep.
Right, so that's got to be a little bit of a concern, right?
Oh, for sure. But I think they're okay with it so long as they're able to keep pace and find that fight before the BKB timing, which shouldn't be a huge... I mean, Sven, Yatoro's having a good game, but Mask of Madness, Echo Saber, then he'll be able to go back for the BKB. By that time, you're going to have a Blink on the Legion Commander. In fact, he's closing in on it, already halfway there. And as you can see, he's farming so fast. Armlet is always active, and he's just right-clicking, and he stays full HP. So, again, plus 60 damage, he's just got for free. That's the Relic. That's a 4,000 gold item he picked up at 6 minutes in, if you think about it from a purely how much DPS does this add to me perspective. As they look for Collapse. Oh, that would have been a sure kill with the DD.
How close is Collapse to getting his Blink Dagger? Still a bit of ways. I'm just waiting for, like, if they can get that Blink Dagger, then the Arena plus Snapfire plus Razor running in and having his ultimate on is just, like, such a powerful combination. But it's going to be so long until they actually have that it might be that Faith Beyond gets his Blink Dagger before him. And he went Armlet first.
Yep. And that's...
Oh, that doesn't feel good.
Sort of what I mean, right? You get this build-up item so that you always have a game. Yeah, you delay your initiation tool a bit, but it ensures that you're going to keep that net worth lead. They just brute force down that mid tower.
Yeah, no real response from Team Spirit.
It's
Again,
tough.
probably
It's real
feeling
tough.
like they have to wait for that initiation item. Soon we're going to have Veil on Shinkyu.
They're going to have a Blink duel. Like, there's going to be so much damage. BKB rush from Toronto Tokyo makes sense, but he's just gonna need real quick fingers, because if you get dueled before you get that off, there's no save on his team. Sure, you could cookie to perhaps disjoint the Mystic Flare damage, but that takes a little time, you know?
What do you mean? They've got Io.
That's a long relocate, man. 3.5 seconds?
Okay,
You're not getting
okay.
anyone out. That's not real.
I feel like Cookie to be able to get you out of Mystic Flare and Torrent, potentially Boat, and then a relocate. I feel like that's pretty good saves, Kyle.
I've
I've
got more faith in Tesla's self-driving than I do the ability of Io to relocate, and I would never use autopilot. So that should.
Okay. Vale also picked up for the Snapfire, so their magic damage combination between him and Collapse is going to be pretty high. Still want that Blink Dagger, though. They are going to be able to... I thought they were going to go for Collapse, but instead they caught mid lane, Toronto Tokyo. They did relocate in right on top of the Winter Wyvern, caught him before he could get off the Cold Embrace, and now turning into a little piggy is this Faith Beyond Legion Commander who's going to be able to run himself away here. They're actually going to X... yeah, this Io. He's not making it out of here. They give him the cookie, but he's still going to be run down. Collapses silence for a moment here. Bit of a reset. Team Spirit back themselves away. Not what they wanted. 1-for-2 exchange with them using relocate and everything else. LGD continuing to build up more and more of an advantage. But hey, it's not as bad as last game. There are still plenty of opportunities for Team Spirit to be able to turn this game around. And even right now, just with this Blink Dagger and whatever smoke they choose to use, they catch the right kind of initiation, they can easily clean up 2 or 3 heroes.
And why? He's got to be a little salty. He almost got his curse off, which would have likely saved him, but
Yeah.
does die to the smacks of the Toro.
That is the scary part, is they have to find the Winter Wyvern every time. And that was something that we've been talking about, how vision is so important. We were watching VG Gaming earlier, right? The Weaver forward position, the Venomancer forward position, both of those like excel at being able to find and give vision of some kind. They're gonna find Y here. Immediately pin him to the tree, chain the stuns to make sure he can't get anything off.
Good try. He was trying to fly over those trees and get the smoke break. He had a suspicion people were in the area. May have even looked to ward. He does have 2 on him, but they catch him just in time for him to flood it over. But of course, the rest of his team is just completely uncaring. It's like, up, guys, a new support fed again. Also, wanted to note, VP.LGD spamming voice lines non-stop. PSG.LGD, silence. Absolute silence. Just, man, they're spooky.
Cold-blooded killers, that's what they are.
Ward. Again, why just excellent on the defensive moves.
It's going to prevent them from being able to make that rotation from, you know, they're controlling the jungle nicely, then you usually like to sweep into the mid lane. Why just making sure that that's not going to be an easy option for Team Spirit. They're going to have to smoke if they want to be able to sneak an initiation over there. Mapochka hiding in the trees, playing to save Yutoro, but it looks like they're going to try and go for a 2-pronged attack here. Faith Beyond going for Yutoro, meanwhile Y trying to make sure that Mapochka doesn't get the opportunity to go for a relocate out, so it just means Mapochka is going to be the sacrificial lamb to allow Yutoro to be able to get away.
More duel. I love this. Wise like he warded for that kill, but he recognizes they now know it's there, so he'll just deny it. He will not get the satisfaction. I will not let you kill my wards. I will kill them myself.
Get the combination here with the kisses coming in. Faith Beyond taking a decent amount of damage, but with the armlet, it's just enough to keep him alive and well. Collapse doesn't have that same kind of item, gets bursted down by the Kunkka.
They would have loved an engagement there. They had the BKB ult ready on the Sven, BKB on Razor as well, but Collapse just gets worked. And like, this is with vision too.
I was watching on the map. You said, oh, he's going to kill that ward. And he left it there. And then he just sat there waiting for somebody to show up and then denied it right in front of his face. Like, if there's any time to use a chat wheel line, surely it's right then at that moment.
Faith Beyond. Whoa, what?
Got the duel anyway. Not going to be fast enough to get the extra damage, but still, kill's a kill.
He messed that up a little bit too. He short blinked. If you blink, if you over blink, you only get 4/5 of the distance. If you do it within the 1,200 units, you would get exactly where you click. And he over blinked there, but it doesn't matter because that was a very odd cookie.
Another move. Oh, nice Winner's Curse. Shinkyu It turns around, throws what damage can, but Toronto Tokyo has the BKB. Still, though, if LGD gets away, which it seems like they will, a BKB used by Team Spirits and losing their 4 position. It's not too bad considering Ame's just been kind of quietly farming this entire time. Not keeping up with Sven. Sven should be able to outpace everyone when it comes to farm. Gets his natural cleave mechanic, but the fact that all 3 cores are within shooting distance of Sven is a good sign for LGD.
Well, I almost thought for sure we'd see Nothing to Say grab a halberd. He actually goes for the Sanjin Yasha. I think maybe just for the move speed, right? Outrun the Link and find catch better. If you're pushing lanes like this as well, it's nice because you get more distance traveled. You can cut waves a lot more effectively.
Okay. Lad's looking pretty tanky now with a full-out plate mail just sitting in his inventory as well.
AC next item. Like they know the name of the game. It's all about the physical damage, both mitigation and amplification.
Really surprised we just never got to see. Like, have they killed anybody with this Mars Snapfire combo?
Not yet.
And they're running out of time at this point. My magic damage is going to be irrelevant soon. It's a duel before he completes the cookie away. Mira gets caught and feeds away some damage to Faith Beyond, and that now means that Collapse is out of position, so he has to blink away and TP out. And a tier 2 that is free for the taking for
Immediately onto the outpost. You're Radiant, so this gives you coverage in the Roche area. It's just so nice to watch, and I like the build. Faith Beyond, he had Blade Mail queued up for a bit. Now it'll be BKB. I think it's the right choice. And just that casual medallion to buff up his carry or perhaps debuff the enemy support he solo duels. 50 damage. Like they're like the spooky thing is that Yotaro, yeah, he's ahead, but it doesn't feel like he's far enough ahead. He's not going to be that god strength Lord Sven that slaughters his enemies in a single smack. This is going to take some significant time because you're also playing into the Ghost Ship run buff, right? Where 50% damage takes that extra time to take it there. Actually, only 40%. Why do I think it's 50? It used to be 50, right?
Yeah, it did. It did. And then they nerfed it.
Probably like 2 years ago. I just forgot. Oh, Black.
They do manage to get the curse out. Collapse catches the Kunkka, though. Nothing to say. Going for a TP out. They have no more stuns! Oh, no.
And why teleported home as well? Oh, my God. I mean, with Armlet popped, he had that plate mail, like you said. He currently has... Is that real?
And meanwhile, look how fast they're able to kill someone like Maposhka.
How? Hang on a sec. He has 32 armor. 36, 38 armor, depending on which auras he's nearby. He took the strength down, like, what? And they're in the road too. And Shard has picked up. I like that. Nobi can just Shard. Yep, free BKB for your Tiny. We talked about it.
Look at how fast he swings.
Oh boy. Like Team Spirit, like I can't really find fault in their play. They've played a great game. It's 10-7. Yotaro is 3-0, top net worth. But it's the way that PSG.LGD, they eke out these little advantages just down to the way that they itemize. They start the games with the right ideas in mind. And I'm just concerned because, you know, Spirit, it's all about the physical damage, and I just don't see where they're going to find enough.
What's our item build for Toronto Tokyo? He's going to go in SNY as well. Do you think he's going to go for like the refresher build with the Aghanim Scepter?
I think so.
I mean, we have to plan for a late game scenario for Team Spirit at this pace because it just doesn't feel like they are ahead enough for this Sven, as you said, to be that king of team fights. Smoke up from PSG.LGD. Team Spirit doing a good job of playing it very safe. You can see the Sven and the Io going all the way down the side lane instead of cutting through their triangle where they surely would have been caught. They group up together.
Lose their ward. But man, I'm Faith Beyond. He's strong enough to kill people in duel, but then he has Solar Crest Shard. That's going to be 190 increased attack speed to his Tiny.
Yeah. And when you have enough damage like this to win a duel, that makes the shard that much better, right? Because you get in, you go, you win that duel, and you're able to get out because you've got the magic immunity to do so.
To contextualize it for the viewer at home, think about a Huskar at like 2% HP, and then imagine that it's a Tiny. Like, that's how effective this item combination is. And this is where Tiny thrives. You're just gonna, like, he turns into a damn lone druid. He's just slaughtering buildings.
He's stacking so fast for a Tiny. This is not what Tiny is supposed to look like.
Just keep going. You force everyone back to base.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Boom, 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 boom. Oh, instantly silence! Shinkyu says, nay, gentlemen. You're not getting the initiation. Oh, no, Yutaro has already gone in, and he's not going to be able to do Shinkyu. He just got slaughtered! Ame, nothing to say, and Faith Beyond, they just triple-teamed him, and he went down in an instant.
He didn't even have time to pop Warcry. He took 2 hits from Tiny, a DD Kunkka Cleave. They just, like, won the game.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
It's like you're playing Alabama and you're Akron. I just don't know what you're supposed to do.
I have no idea what the hell that means. Next round of Raxes. And it's going to be no problem. Yutaro's going to be back up in a second here, but I'm not even sure if Team Spirit is ready to fight. Satanic, and they're not going to slow down. They have Aegis. They're like, oh, okay, come on. Let's do this again. Try again, Team Spirit. Back away, but only for a second, just to see if somebody goes out of position. Toronto Tokyo going to be tossed up in the air. He's going to be forced to use the BKB here. He has to be careful of this physical damage of the Tiny. Even if he's being drained, he still hits like a truck. Collapses managed to catch the dude supports in the back line. Silence afterwards, and Yutaro doesn't get the jump in. Meanwhile, the Tiny is still dealing with this Razor. Collapse is receiving no help from his supports whatsoever because they are being demolished and countered by the cores of PSG.LGD. Yutaro gets out, Razor gets out, Toronto Tokyo gets out, but they call GG. It's just over, Kyle.
That was a fully drained Tiny who just ran back in to start hitting Razor and won the fight. He forced relocate. What do you do? Just, oh my god.
He's doing 440 damage a hit. You can take 100 away from that. It doesn't change the fact that his build, combined with the build of others, like most notably Faith Beyond, Solar Crest, and the Press the Attack speed, is doing 300 damage, and he's hitting twice a second.
It's like they're just building this machine. At 20 minutes, they get the double shard, they get Aegis, and it's like, okay, go.
Yeah.
Like, just get us out of here. They're winning these series so decisively. I'm getting the same jitters I got watching OG playing last TI in the group stage. And it's like, wow,
oh, yeah.
They're just better than everyone here. And I think that, PSG.LGD, they have teams that can certainly challenge them. But right now, they are exactly as advertised.
Yep.
Heavy favorites coming in, and they're certainly playing like that.
Well, hopefully that TI favorite curse doesn't strike them, but it doesn't seem like they're slowing down. As you said, the war machine of LGD just keeps on plowing through these teams, and I don't know who's up next, but I'd be looking if I'm looking at the docket right now, I'd be like, LGD?
You know who's up next?
Who's up next?
On this stream?
In this stream.
Don't go anywhere, because I think it only takes 10 minutes. It is Evil Geniuses versus Invictus Gaming.
Oh, that is a good one.
The rematch.
Yes, the rematch of the Singapore Major. Some question marks have already been thrown down in this tournament by No-Tail.
Indeed.
We'll see if any more get thrown around in IG versus EG, which is going to happen right after this break.